Shalom. Good morning to you all, a good Sabbath day, and welcome to a few quality moments around the Shabbat table with the Rabbi Son. I'm Bill Bullock. I'm in Texarkana, USA, at the Biblical Lifestyle Center, and we're here today to share some quality time and share some quality insight, hopefully, into the Torah, into the wisdom of the Creator of the universe as He has given it to us. We are continuing a quest that we've been talking about for weeks now. Actually, a quest that's been going on all our lives. It's a quest in search of answers to life's most important questions. You know you have these questions. These questions have been burning in the back of your mind for all your life. And suddenly now they're at the forefront. And now it's time to talk about it. And it's time to receive wisdom and insight from the Holy One. What can we learn? So what are the questions? These most important questions of life. We've talked about them. What are they? First one is, who, if anyone, sent us to this world? Who created this world? Is it created or did it just happen? Who, if anyone, created and then sent us into this world? And who put us in this bloodline we're in? And this age that we live in, the times that we live in, and the generation in which we're born? The great who question. And then the second of the most important questions of life that our quest is designed to reach is how. How did what we see with our natural eyes and experience and our physical senses and life get here? What does it all mean? The how question. And then the third is of the essentially important questions of life that this quest is designed to address is why. For what purpose? What reason were we conceived and born? Why was this all created? Or if it was created, or why did it just happen if it just happened? Whatever it is, we're answering those questions with why, the great why question. And then the next question, the fourth of the great questions of our quest is, what are we supposed to be doing? Whatever the cause, whatever the reason, what is this life supposed to be about for us? How are we supposed to be impacting our spheres of influence, our zones of impact? How are we supposed to be making the world better, or are we? And what does better mean and look like? And finally, the fifth of the major questions of our quest is, what insight and perspective, what wisdom does Torah, the ancient book of revelation from the Creator of the universe, what perspective, what insight, what wisdom does this book have to offer? So we've been engaging in our quest, and Torah has been teaching us things. Wow, the revelation stream is so rich, and the wisdom is so deep, and we're catching such a vision. He said the world in which we live is neither a product of random chance nor of the survival of the fittest, nor is it by any means, careening out of control. No, the world in which we live is the brainchild of an unseen, immortal being with a brilliant mind. And it is not out of control. He is zealously watching over it, overseeing it, managing it by his brilliant, strong hand. Who is this person? Who is he? We have come to know him by multiple names. But from the standpoint of where we are in this narrative right now, he is the God of Abraham, of Yitzhak, and of Yaakov, and the God of Moshe, our God, and we are his people. Torah has been teaching us about this, that mankind as a species, beginning with its first specimens, Adam and Hava, have consistently and consciously taken the bait of narcissistic self-obsession. Torah calls it evil, or English Bibles at least translated as evil. It's the bait of narcissistic self-obsession. Instead of thinking about why we're here and who the Creator is and connecting with him and his plan, we take the bait of narcissistic self-obsession, to the point that Earth, the ecosystem in which we were given to manage and oversee for the Holy One, with the Holy One, is now groaning under a great burden. The great burden is of Ra. King James Version taught us to call that evil, self-sufficiency, self-declaration, self-will. Shakat, which the King James Bible and its interpreters interpreted as corruption, and then Hamas, which is translated as violence or cruelty. There's a dysfunction that comes about because of man's narcissistic self-obsession, and each person is therefore born into this dysfunctional, corrupted world. And we have each has 5 gaping holes in his or her soul as we're born. And these 5 holes are there all of our lives. They are active more or less at different times, but they are susceptible to infection and inflammation by the 2 great products of spiritual dark energy we've been talking about. Torah's been teaching us about the fact that there is dark energy in the world, and by virtue of man's narcissistic self-obsession and this Ra, Shakat, Hamas dysfunction, these 2 dark spiritual energy forces are Tuma. The King James Version calls it uncleanness. It's toxic fragmentation, dissolution, destructive methodology that flows from disconnection from the Creator. And the second one is Chol, which is obsession over the profane, the common, the lewd, the mundane, and the temporal things that we see with our natural eyes and hear with our natural ears and want with our natural impulses and desires. These things of the mind and the pseudo-intellect and the flesh, as opposed to us focusing and being caught up in the beauty of His presence, our Creator's presence, that is, His wonders, His will, and His ways. Well, we've learned that the Creator has a grand plan to fix all this, to make tikkun, for tikkun olam, for the world in general, and for tikkun nefesh, for the individuals of the world, of mankind. This grand plan is cross-generational. We have learned in Torah, and it is designed to redeem fallen humanity and all of its bloodlines. Yes, and all of its generations, and all of its households, and all of its individual specimens, including you and your fellow kinsmen, and to also restore creation, the ecosystem of earth and beyond, to its original intended Edenic state. And that state was beauty. And that state was fruitfulness, and that state was shalom, and that state involved strategic counterbalances as designed by the Elohim signature, the signature of the God of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, the Creator. Torah has been teaching us as well that our conceptions and our births, and those of our parents, our children, our kinsmen, all of the human beings of all races and ethnicities and generations, are by reason of strategic intervention planned from the foundation of the world by the Creator, His wise and benevolent plan in effect. We have learned also that the Creator's grand plan was initiated on earth by His conversations with Abraham, the one from Ur of the Chaldees who lived in Haran. And this one man, through this one man, the Holy One began to build this great nation. He promised He would build it. He covenanted to build it. He committed resources of heaven to build this great nation out of the seed of Avram, a man who would shema, listen to and carefully tune to His voice and His frequency and His ways, and would walk before Him and the nations and the peoples of the world in emunah, in this English calls it faith or trust. The idea is the life force that emanates from the one we are shemaing, the voice and the words that come from His mouth. There's a life force of Kedusha, and this emunah is to carry that Kedusha responsibly. So Avram would walk that way, and the great nation formed from His seed would walk in this emunah of Kedusha. And they would walk so according to covenant protocols. And thereby, through that methodology, the grand plan will be executed, because those people who do this, those who join this plan, will become fountains of blessing through which all families on the earth are blessed. That's the plan. And we were all born, Torah has been teaching us, to play an important role in that grand plan. Now, there is another character being talked about, this Messiah character that we will learn more about, but he has been mentioned and brought as a harbinger of the fullness of this grand plan and our participation in it. But we are all born to play a role in the Creator's grand plan. How? How do we do that? By embracing the Avrahamic calling. Yes, in our days, in our generation, in our lives, in our spheres of influence, and being forged into that great nation collective of serving the creator of the universe and mankind in his way. We have learned through Torah that the characteristics of that great nation include being an Am Segula, a sort of a display case people who were put out on full display, a model example nation. We have to live up to that responsibility. We get to live up to that responsibility. We're empowered to live up to that responsibility, where all others will see and say, there is a great creator, and he has a great plan, and these people are my key, my ways of learning to access that. We're supposed to be the Am Segula. We're also to be the great nation. We must be a Mamleket Kohanim. We must be a kingdom of priests, it says in English, but really that means emissaries and ambassadors who have been courtiers in the courts of the king and who know how to carry his kedusha, his holiness, his weight, his beauty, his majesty, his goodness, and his goodwill to mankind, not acting as independent agents, doing their own will, saying their own wishes, expressing their own opinions, but instead declaring the decrees and the goodness and the goodwill of the Creator. Thirdly, with characteristics of a great nation include being a Goy Kadosh, a people who is always flowing with, has a fountain of Kedusha, energy from heaven, from the heavenly realms, creative, beautiful, harmonizing energy within us. Shalom, some people call it, but it's Kedusha plus Shalom. And it is, we are a people who he carries it and emits it. This is our calling, at least, in the plan. We have to choose if we want to be part of this great mission or not. Well, if we're going to choose it, we have learned in Torah that we must have evidence and fruit of that choice. And that shall show up in our personal life. It will have to start with our own individual devotion and contact with the Kedusha portal. The Holy One has given us access to his own being, to his own persona, to his own energy, but we have to access that. And we have to be have mindfulness of it and consciousness of it. Otherwise, we'll default. We'll default into the Ra, Shakat, Hamas, the 5 holes in our soul that will become irritated and aggravated and begin to ooze toxicity and tama into the world. The personal life needs to start with the connection to the Kedusha source, the Kedusha portal, and the Holy One himself. It's his will we do. It's his image we reflect, not our own. So in our personal life then, our appearance should reflect his majesty. Our demeanor and our dress, our attitude and our mood, our vocabulary, our tone, and the content of our message should all be geared toward bringing forth the Kedusha of the Holy One. And the 5K gifts. What were the 5K gifts? I'm just going to list them here and let you go back in the past sessions and we can talk about them more. You can hear about them more. The first of the 5K gifts is Chaya, a focus upon life, an enthusiasm for life. The second one is kavod. It is the heaviness, weightiness of the kingdom, the words that have impact, and the solidness where there's no wind doesn't blow you away. Kavod, the glory, it says in English, of the Holy One. This is the second 5K gift. The third 5K gift is Hesed, and Hesed is translated obviously usually as loving kindness or mercy or love, but it's what it is covenant faithfulness to the highest possible exponent, beyond all requirements or obligations or what people would think would be normal or appropriate. The covenant faithfulness to the partners in the covenant and to the plan of the covenant. And then the fourth one is, the fourth of the gifts is Chokmah, of wisdom, which is practical understanding and skill in dealing with life situations and being solution-minded rather than problem-oriented, obstacle-oriented, blame-casting, negative in thought. So to have a solution-minded approach. And the fifth of the 5K gifts was Kippurim, a covering that heals, a covering that doesn't just hide, but begins to have a healing balm like a poultice to be people that cover other people with this healing balm and let a life force emanate into them from the covering. So that's the personal life. This should also expand into our family lives, into our camp life, our places where we iron sharpens iron, where we interact with one another, our community lives where we go on the highways and on the byways and we travel, and where we go to the market and where we buy things and where we spend money and when we interact with and make parnasah and get funds to live on, and the forum where we talk about issues of life and issues of spirit. All these are the areas in which the great nation has to come forth. Okay, I've given you a little brief review of what Torah has been teaching us, what has helped us with our quest, or challenged us at least with our quest. And everything we've talked about so far, I hope for you sounds great, even inspiring. But beginning today, we have the final push of the Torah's revelation stream. We have been spending months now talking about the Sinaitic experience, where we have been under the umbrella, under the huppah, under the Shekinah cloud of the Creator of the universe, being fed wisdom, understanding, preparations, being infused with this Kedusha energy we've talked about, being birthed in shalom and joy and hope. And that's been our Sinai experience for months now. That is coming to an end this week, and we are now being sent out. We will be sent out into what's called the second wilderness, and eventually on into the land of promise, the great kingdom beachhead from which we will launch the grand plan into all four corners of the earth. Well, this change is about to take place. So it all sounds great, what we've learned so far, but what if we encounter dark energy resistance as we go? It's not just a what if, it's going to happen. What will happen when we encounter dark energy resistance? What will happen when it comes out of us? What will happen when it comes out of each other? What will happen when it comes out of our leaders? What will happen when this dark energy resistance comes out of the peoples of the nations around us whose territory we're traversing? What will happen when this dark energy resistance hits? What will happen when we get tired? What will happen when we get bored? What will happen when the holes in our souls do get inflamed and irritated by exposure to these dark energy sources of Tumah and coal that we talked about? What if we get disconnected in all these things from the most important thing in our lives, which is the Kedusha connection, the Emmanuel initiative, God with us, dwelling with us, in our midst, being a part of our lives, Him being our God, we being His people, Him walking amongst us in our camp. What happens if we get disconnected from that? Ooh, this is where the challenge of life comes in, right? This is where the rubber meets the road and the sandal meets the sand. So welcome to Parsha number 36, Behelotkah, Kedusha Tending and Keeping 101. How to keep and tend Kedusha in the midst of encounters with dark energy resistance. How not to lose our connection with Kedusha, with the Kedusha portal of the Holy One being with us. And it means we have to learn to understand both the dark energy of Ra, Shakat, Hamas, of Tumah and Chol, of Tohu Vavohu, as it was in the early of the Genesis 1-2. And I understand the dark energy of that, and also to understand the countervailing power the Holy One is bringing to bear, which is the transformative power of light and our carrying of divine light into the world. The last 2 weeks of the session at Sinai that we've had, the first two parshas of Numbers or Bamidbar, have been about lifting our heads. We have to keep our heads above the things of the world. Lifting our heads. English is translated as taking censuses, but it's not about numbers. Numbers are really beneficial to teach us that we're not alone in this. There's a great horde, a great host of the kingdom's people that are rising to this challenge. So the last 2 weeks have been talking about not numbering us, but lifting our heads. Nasu et Rosh B'nai Israel. Nasu et Rosh, each of the clans. Nasu et Rosh, lift up your heads, lift up the heads. Why are we lifting our heads? So that we will be ready for the challenges of the boot camp, second wilderness boot camp that lies ahead of us. The times when we do find, as opposed to our beautiful time of seclusion and attachment to the umbilical cord of the Creator at Sinai, whenever we face the dark energy of the real world again. That's why we have to have lifted heads. Well, lifting of the heads message has lasted for 2 weeks, and now it's time to rise up and kindle the lamp with which we're called to enlighten the world, to illumine the world, and to carry it forth with humility and carry it forth with honor. Ba'aluka. How to and how not to prepare for and deal with encounters with dark energy, with adversity. This is what we call adversity. Adversity is that which is unwelcome, unpleasant, that which we do not want to have. This is we don't expect to have, that we don't want to face, but nevertheless challenges us at the deepest levels of our Kedusha connection. Challenges us in our emunah, challenges us in our shalom, challenges us in our joy and our hope, challenges us in our wisdom and our 5K gifts. Well, how to and how not to prepare for and deal with that. That's our quest. That's our discussion today. In order to prepare us for this imminent encounter with the dark energy of the world, with the Rosh Hashanah Hamas, and with the irritating 4 factors of Tuma and Chol that the world is going to offer and stir up the deep holes in our soul that are within us that have been covered with the Kippur at Sinai. In order for us to prepare for that, the Holy One has been giving us what I call snow globe views, snow globe visions. It's like if you have something you really want to. I have a snow globe, for instance, that came from Jerusalem, and it's the old city of Jerusalem in a ball. And with liquids, and there's this glitter in there. Whenever you turn it upside down and you put it back on the table, and this glitter begins to fall. It's like glory falling upon Jerusalem. That's my snow globe. I love that snow globe. I can focus on that, think about it, and it becomes a meditation portal for me. I can see it. My hope is built immediately. My joy is increased. My love for God and for His plan is increased. My commitment to Him is increased by all this, by this snow globe effect. Well, the Holy One's not going to give us a physical snow globe. He's going to give us a visual snow globe. He's going to give us a snow globe of words, a snow globe of pictures, words that tell a picture story. So He's going to give us, the first one is, He's going to show us, make a snow globe out of Aaron tending the lampstand in the holy place of the tabernacle. Someone is accessing the portal. Someone is redirecting the light. Someone is tending the light. This is our high priest. You see, if you understand the book of Revelation and the vision that Johann and John had of the Mass of Yeshua walking amongst the candlesticks. This is the same snow globe picture that the Holy One has given us to empower us, to prepare us, to keep our focus that there's someone there on high, in a higher place, tending the light and giving us access to it that we are connected with. This Aaron tending this lampstand snow globe. But that's not the only snow globe He's going to give us to put on our mantle or our desk to keep reminding ourselves that this is going on. The second one is He's going to show us this snow globe, visual, verbal snow globe of the Levi'im, the Levites, humbly serving the nation and the people and the Holy One in the Mishkan. He's going to see, they're actually a wave offering of Levi'im. And they all are raised up, and you can see them with shining faces into your snow globe. And you see the glory of the Holy One falling upon the Levi'im. This is the model within the model people within the model people, the Am Segilah within the Am Segilah. The Levi'im. And then we're going to see the third snow globe He's going to give us in this parsha before He takes us and sends us off into the wilderness to face the dark energy. The third of the snow globe visions or vistas He's going to create with His words are the vista, the snow globe of Hebrew families gathered around their Shabbat tables, eating matzah and maror together and telling the story of redemption on Erev Pesach, the evening of Passover. This is a bonding idea, and we'll have this snow globe on our desk. We'll have this in our minds at all times, this meditation portal to think about, yes, this is who we are, and this is why we're here. This is our story. This is our song. This is the song we have to sing to the world. The third of the snow globes is the Hebrew families gathered around the Seder table. eating matzah and maror together on the evening of Passover. And then the fourth snow globe vision and inspiration he's going to give us is the vision of the pillar of fire and cloud hovering over the camp of the redeemed. Bringing shade, and yet bringing light, and yet bringing glory, and yet bringing the presence of the Holy One, and promising more and more empowerment from on high. The pillar of the fire and the cloud hovering over the camp. Imagine that being in a snow globe on your desk or on your mantle that you could take out and look at whenever you wanted to. The pillar of fire and cloud, manifest presence of the Holy One, right with us, being with us. Immanuel, guiding us, teaching us, training us, leading us. And the fifth of the snow globes that he's going to show us is the Kohanim, the priests, the sons of Aaron, holding, raising to their lips, and sounding silver trumpets that we can all hear, that are the communication system of the camp, that we're not alone all by ourselves, that all others are hearing the same thing we're hearing. Others are being called. There is a force, there is a power, there is an authority that is speaking forth words, and we all have the capacity to hear and respond if we just know how to interpret the silver trumpets. Can you imagine a snow globe on your desk or on your mantle of the priests in their glory, holding up the silver trumpets? And the sixth of the scenes in our snow globe, the sixth of the snow globe scenes that we'll put on our mantle will have our portals of meditation from this parsha are Israel's host, rising from the sands of Sinai and going out into their first season of second wilderness, going out and then coming in behind the pillar of fire and cloud and behind specifically the Ark of the Covenant, borne by the Levi'im, and going out to the songs of Moshe as Moshe sings, Chuma Adonai v'yachutzu oiveka, rise, O Holy One, and may your enemies be scattered. And coming into Shuva Adonai revolt el Israel, and return, O Holy One, to your rest among the thousands of Israel, the thousands, the multitudes, the myriads of Israel. These are the snow globe pictures that this parsha is going to give us to help us to maintain our Kedusha portal connection in the wilderness in the difficult days ahead. Well, we are the message. No, we're not the message. He is the message. His is the message. The Creator's is the message. The God of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov's is the message. We are just the medium. We are just the messengers. We are called to be messengers of shalom and hope. We're called to be emissaries sent forth from our king's courts on a diplomatic mission to carry goodwill and good news. That's our mission, to take those good news and goodwill to all people, to all nations, and to all situations. Well, this means, however, that we are not free, if we're going to do our job, to adulterate his message. How can we adulterate his message? By adding our personal or group or ethnic opinions or attitudes or offenses or ideas or biases or flesh cravings. We must not be a people of unclean lips, of toxic speech. We must carefully and diligently guard our hearts, our minds, and our tongues. See, the challenge of the season is encountering adversity, encountering dark energy. That's coming up. This whole next season, the rest of Torah, is about us encountering and dealing with, being beaten by, and then overcoming eventually adversity and the dark energy, overcoming it by the means the Creator has designed for us to. So, when we encounter adversity, yes, we will. When hope is deferred, we're trying to get to the promised land, to the grand redemption and the grand restoration of all things. But hope is deferred by virtue of these contacts with and their interactions with the unclean realms. And sometimes gratification is delayed. We don't get everything we want when we want it. We're not like children being fed with a bottle or with ice cream. When our bodies get hungry, and we get thirsty, and we get tired, and we get stressed, and we get exhausted, and we get sick, or we get overwhelmed. If these things happen, can we still maintain our mission? Can we still maintain forward direction and focus? Can we still be part of the plan? And then what if our leaders, our own leaders, the ones who we follow and approve of, and those who we have learned to trust, what if they seem to be doing nothing to help us when we need it most? What if they seem to fail themselves? What if they seem to make things worse? They have rants and flesh outs, just like us. What if we get disillusioned by focusing on leadership and they let us down? Will we still be able to stay mission focused? Will we still be able to stay in the inflow of Kedusha and of Hayah and of Kavod and of Chesed and of Kippurim and of wisdom, Hakam, Hakmah? Will we be able to stay in those things and adapt and survive and overcome and transcend and bear Tov fruit, the fruit of the goodness of our King? In other words, the question is, realizing we're going to face adversity, we're going to face the darkness and dark energy, is our covenant with the Creator strong and secure? Is it stronger than the pull of Earth's tohu vavohu through of Ra, Shakat, and Hamas, and Tuma, and Chol? Well, in order to face this next era that we're about to enter into, that Torah is about to introduce to us, we reproduce it, we relive it every year. As the summer solstice takes place in the northern hemisphere, and the winter solstice in the southern hemisphere, as the light begins to shift and change. As the light begins to shift and change, what happens is we have to make the most of the light that we're given. And we have to choose a perspective and a mood and an attitude and a tone, a voice, and a tone of life and a message. We are to process all our thoughts. Yes, all our thoughts and all stimuli that stimulate our flesh or our pseudo-intellect, and all emotions and all body language we're going to produce or project, all speech that we're going to utter, all behavior that we're going to engage in through the lens of the Abrahamic covenant, the plan of redemption of mankind and of creation. We're called to bring light, not darkness. But we must understand the powers and the draw and the pull of darkness. We must understand what our brethren and our sisters of the world, our fellow sons and daughters of Adam and Hava, we have to understand what they're going through. And so we have to face the darkness and gradually learn to overcome the darkness after many, many failures on our own. We're called to bring light, not darkness. We're called to bless, not curse. We're called to carry shalom, peace, well-being, wellness, wholeness, simcha, joy, effervescence, and emunah, faith and trust. We're supposed to bring these things, not offense, not discontent, not cynicism, not negativity into our world. We're called to be radical vessels of good news, the good news of the King of creation, for his mankind, his species of leadership, and also for the creation itself. We're called to be radical vessels of this good news, not bitter fountains spewing the toxic waste and slime of discontent and complaint. So, welcome to Behalot, which means in your rising, in your ascending. This week the cloud will move, and we will leave Sinai. And our second great wilderness adventure of testing and trial will be on. We will be launched out of our comfort zones that we've been adapting to at Sinai. We will be called to take up afresh the arduous search toward our destiny deployment and Eretz Yisrael, the land of promise. So awake, my beloved friends. Awake, awake. This is the parsha of arising to ascend. Warning, the ascent is not linear. What goes up sometimes must come down. But understand this as we go forward. Every descent, every time we fall, every time we sink, every time we fail, it is just a preparation for an even greater ascent we'll be wiser the next time around. Let us now sing our call to worship. Let us get in tune with the Creator's Hebrew thought process as we speak to him in his Hebrew, in his language that he's chosen to use for revelation. This is called the Barachu, the blessing before reading from the Torah. We sing it every week. Join me if you know it. If not, just relax and enjoy. Take a deep breath. No, don't take a deep breath. Receive a deep breath from the Creator himself. Baruch hu Adonai Hamvorak. Baruch Adonai Hamvorak Leolam Vaed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amin V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah. And now, may you open our eyes, O Holy One, that we may see wondrous things in your Torah. For we are just strangers on this earth, so please do not hide your commandments from us. We begin our discussions today with the final words of Naso, last week's Parsha. And this, the snow globe that he gave us to end last week is the snow globe of snow globes, the beauty realm image that he wants us always to carry with us at all times. The ultimate of the centerpiece of all the snow globes that we've been talking about. The portals of meditation. Here it is in the last verse of Parsha Naso, Numbers 7:89 said, and when Moshe went into the tent of meeting, you see the snow globe beginning to develop. There's Moshe as a character, the place of the tent of meeting, and the reason, to speak with him, the Creator. He, Shemad, Moshe, Shemad, he got in tune with Et HaKol, the ultimate superlative voice. Now you see Moshe's face as he's beginning to commune with the Creator of the universe, shining face. This is in your snow globe. This is the picture. And he said, goes forward, speaking to him, Moshe was, the Holy One was, speaking to him, to Moshe, from above the mercy seat, HaKaporet, that was on the Ark of the Covenant. You see these things filling out your snow globe. This is the imagery of our connection to the Creator of the universe, right there in this tent of meeting, right there where the voice above the mercy seat, speaking from above the mercy seat, that was above the Ark of the Covenant of the testimony. And then there is he, the Holy One, speaking words of life to him, Moshe, on our behalf, between the two cherubim. This is the snow globe image. Freeze frame this image before we go into the wilderness. Freeze frame, lock this into your mind, into your heart. There is a portal open on earth, that the heavens touch earth. There's an inversion take place from the realms of heaven come to earth, and we are in these courts of our King, that we can bring the wisdom, the knowledge, the holiness, the glory of those courts into the world. This is our ultimate snow globe scene that we will need to have a hold of. This is the Creator's Emmanuel initiative. This is the Hatikvah. This is the hope of mankind and creation. This is telling us the inversion sequence, heaven coming to earth, on earth as is in heaven, is underway, and is always available to us if we know how to access it. This is telling us that the Kedusha portal, heaven's release of its own energy into earth, is open. This is our knowledge. This snow globe teaches us the Revelation River is open and flowing and overflowing in our direction. But how do we maintain this level of God-man interface? How do we carry this forward? And how do we do it from the rising of the sun to the going down of the same? Cue the next snow globe, Aaron and the menorah, the lampstand, offering the Holy One the first fruits of earth, of each interval of earth time, the first thing in the morning. The opening lines of Behalot Ka are as follows. I'll read in the Hebrew to let it touch your spirits. Then I'll come behind with the best interpretation I can, or a translation I can do on the spur of the moment to talk to your mind. I'll talk to your heart and your spirit before I talk to your mind. So we'll go through it like this. It begins as follows. Parsha Behalukah says, Vayadaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. And the Holy One spoke to Moshe. Remember the snow globe. And the Holy One spoke to Moshe saying, this is Creator speak now. Daber el Aaron ve'amarte elav. Speak to Aaron and say to him, Behalukah et hanerot. In your rising, in your getting up, in your ascending, go to the lamps. To the lamps. El mul pnei ha-menorah. The light is to be cast to the front of the menorah. Ya'iru shivut ha-nerot. And it is to illumine. Yes, it's 7 lamps. Now you see the snow globe of Aaron being put out to us, of Aaron lighting the lamps. The secret life and hidden discipline of light bearers takes place early in the morning. First interval of time in each day. Beauty realm connection. Welcome to the beauty realm metaphor, style of instruction, the same parabolic type of instruction that Yeshua, the Messiah, will eventually use. It begins in the Torah, of course, and here we are at the beauty realm metaphor level. This is the secret life and hidden disciplines of light bearers. The menorah parable is what we're giving. It's a snow globe of a picture we got, and it provides, every picture tells a story. And the menorah parable that's going to get from this snow globe image is all about accepting the yoke of the light bearer in this world. You, beloved, like Aaron, you, beloved, you in your family, you in your household, you in your community, you in your generation, you in the created world, you in the bloodline in which you were born, carrying the yoke of the light bearer, embracing the disciplines of light bearing and of illumination and of time dedication. The first fruits of your day are holy. The harvest will be holy. So if we're going to face the dark energy of life, if we're going to face the Ra, Shakat, and Hamas, if we're going to have Tuma and Kol encounters that will agitate and irritate these 5 holes in our soul that are presently being soothed and healed by the Kippurim of the Holy One, if this is going to happen, we need to be connected to the light source. Light emanation, what is it? Light emanates when energy passes through resistance. It causes it to glow, to burn, like a filament of a lamp. Electricity pulsing through the wires goes all the way fine until it gets to the filament of the lamp or the light bulb, and then it begins to glow because there's resistance, and resistance causes heat to build up and light to be emitted. That's what must happen. We must, in order if we're going to emanate light, if we're going to be bearers of the light, if we're going to be carriers of the light, we must understand resistance is coming, and resistance is necessary. Resistance is not something to be hidden away and avoided. Resistance is altogether part of the plan, part of our calling. We can blame satanic forces if we wish to, but the key factor is without resistance we cannot shine. So how will we as individuals, and you and I, how will we as a covenant nation, how will we choose to respond to the resistance, to the stress generators, to the adversity, to the dark energy interactions, the irritations, the inconveniences, the unrealized expectations and desires, the delayed gratifications, the unpleasantness, the discomforts, the hardships, the problems. These are the resistance that we have to face in this life. The betrayals, the sickness, the physical illnesses and disabilities. These are the things we must face and yet continue as the resistance hits us, not to lose focus, not to lose connection with the light source. All right. Now, the Behalukah consists of 3 main units. The first is the light, is the giving of the snow globe images, the things we're supposed to hold on to, the images we're supposed to have and keep referring back to, and checking out and turning upside down and seeing the glory upon them, so that we have this encouragement and excitement and enthusiasm going into life. That's the first phase. The lamp lighting protocols of Aaron and his snow globe, the commissioning of the Levium to a life of humble, joyful avodah or service. That's the second of the snow globe. The third snow globe is the Passover, the idea of family sitting around the tables and the Seder table and speaking to one another of the great redemption of the Holy One over unleavened bread and bitter herbs, as we discuss those props. And the fourth of the snow globes is the follow the leader orientation, learning to see the presence of the Holy One flowing with us in the form of the pillar and cloud. But we can only see that in the light of the Holy One. It's still there, even if we can't see it. But we can't see it unless we're in the light. And the fifth of the snow globes is training our ear to follow the trumpet blasts, to tune to the trumpet blasts of the silver trumpets, the communication system of the kingdom, where we know that others are hearing the same thing we're hearing, and we trust the source, and we trust the message. Then the second phase of Parsha Behalotka will be the grand departure narrative. We will finally leave Sinai. 11 months of mostly beauty and wonder and reconnecting to a life source of the creator of the universe, and getting set up in our plan and our mission and our calling upon life, learning why we're here and what we're supposed to be doing and how to do it. That's been the launch. And now the launch narrative is we'll leave. Chapter 10, verse 11 through 26 will be our launch narrative. And the third, the final phase of the Bamidbar proving ground preparations of Parsha Behalotka are the initial proving ground challenge narratives themselves. We'll learn of places like Taberah, the place of firefall on the fringes of the camp, all stirred by complaining from within about conditions that we don't even need to worry about. We'll see how it happens when dark energy hits us. The first place will be Taberah, and the first manifestation will be firefall from heaven on the fringes of the camp. Then we'll find the second imagery of the narrative, of the challenge narrative, the proving ground challenge. And that will be at Kivrot HaTa'ava, the place of graves of craving. People will begin to crave a craving, to desire a desire, to focus upon and stir up human desires of flesh and pseudo-intellect and emotion that will create all sorts of problems. The result of this will be the quail, a gift which turns into a quail pestilence, and Moshe having his own meltdown, which yields elder trouble. We will be given a group of 70 elders because Moshe has failed us, at least as he sees it and as the Holy One will allow him to see it, to give him 70 elders to help him to do the work that he was called to do. The third of the locations of the scenes that we'll see after this leaving of Sinai will be Hatzerot. This is the place where even Aaron, yes, even the one who's carrying the lamp, tending the lamps, even Aaron and even his sister Miriam, our spiritual worship leader, prophetess, she's sort of our matriarch of the whole nation. She also will fall into Lashon Hara, into negative speech. And we will see how the first complaints at Taberah, the little bitty complaints about little things, turned into horrible, contagious, spreading sicknesses at Kivrot Ta'ava, and actually infected up to the highest level of leadership in Aaron and Miriam at Hatzerot. And that will be the beginning, because from that point forward we will be introduced to the next realm, the next layer, the next place of extreme toxicity, our next encounter with the dark energy force, and that will be in the wilderness of Paran, the haunt of Ishmael and Hagar. Well, that's what we're facing. That's what we're seeing here. So it begins with the Erev Veboker, evening and morning, mostly morning, lamp recalibrating protocols. And then it goes to the other forces. Let's talk about a little bit about the issue of the lesson of the lamps. Aaron in the snow globe. Remember, In Torah's great Mishkan parable, the parable that arises out of the building of the tabernacle, that I may dwell within them, with around them, and in them, among them. This is the plan of the I call it the tent maker's dream, the Emmanuel initiative, the idea of learning that God is always with us. In Torah's great Mishkan parable, every picture tells a passion play worthy story. So, behold, Aaron in the snow globe. And the Torah says, the Holy One speaking, speak to Aaron and say to him, when you cause Hanerot, the lamps, to ascend, the 7 lamps must give light forward from the face of the menorah. Forward. What is this forward looking? Forward focus. We must have forward focus. But what is forward? In the kingdom of heaven, there's only one meaning to forward. Forward means shining on the face, reflecting the light of the Creator himself. It is not the new light that Aaron's creating that is most important. He's focusing back on the veil between the holy place where he is functioning, where he's doing his work, and the presence of the Holy One rising, sitting between the wings of the cherubim, speaking his words, releasing Kedusha into the world, this Kedusha portal. Turn your focus to the Kedusha portal, to the presence of the Holy One, to his eminence, his persona, his majesty, his beauty. And all these other things will begin to fall into the right place. Now, how do we direct the light? You see, light usually goes in all directions from its source. But when you're talking about a menorah, when you're talking about a lamp, especially an oil lamp like this, the direction of the light can be actually changed by changing the line of the wick. If the wick is pointing in a certain direction, from that direction the light will go out. So the idea of it's wick work, learning the wick work of the morning. Start your morning, beloved, by turning the wick to where the light will go, to honor and glorify the Creator of the universe, where your attention will be on him, where you will draw your energy from the ultimate source of light, not the light that you're creating in your own meditations or thought processes or your own religious activities or your own ideological ideas or your own political positions or movements. No, focus upon the Creator himself and that connection, and you will find the secret of the light bearers. Every morning, alone in the holy place, Aaron, as our example, was to clean and resupply each of the lamps, the 7 lamps of the menorah. Do it one at a time and put the wicks in the direction that would face forward to the presence of the Holy One. He would ascend the platform next to the menorah. He would carefully scrub each lamp clean of carbon residue one at a time. He would refill it with oil as appropriate and insert the wick and line it in a certain direction to make sure the light went forward. This is the idea of carrying the lamp. What is the lamp in your life, in my life? What is the lamp? What are these lamps of these lampstands? What is it? What's this metaphor? What is this parable? Lamp, ner in Hebrew. Ner, to break ground, to plow a furrow, to blaze a trail, to make a way. Expose that which shimmers and shines in the sun. A lamp. Now, what does Torah say? For the commandment, the mitzvah, is a lamp. Is a ner. The commandment, the mitzvah of the Holy One, the words of instruction of the Holy One are your lamp. So when you tend the lamps, when you take the lamp focus of the lamps be forward, you focus not on what you've accomplished or by walking in the commandments or walking in the ways, walking in the instructions of the Holy One. You focus on glorifying and honoring the Creator of the universe. That's your plan. I have come to do your will, O Holy One. I have come in the volume of the book, which means the volume of the mitzvot of Torah, to do your will. Because your word, your dabar, is a lamp to my feet, a lamp, a ner to my feet, and a light to my path. Now do you understand we're talking about our meditations in Torah? We're talking about our study. We're talking about our prayer through Torah, our meditations on Torah. This is the way in which we start our mornings. This is the way in which we begin to keep focus on the light. When you see Aaron in your snow globe lighting the lamps, understand it's a picture, an image for you of how you should start your first interval of time every morning, every day. For the commandment is a lamp, and the Torah is a light. Reproof and instruction are the way of life. Now here's a secret that we'll end with today, and will be a shocking secret to you, a law of spiritual science. Every instruction and every discipline and protocol that the Holy One gives to Bnei Israel over the course of the Torah contains an essential Kedusha infusion that the world and we individually need to navigate through the dark energy interactions and to bring Tikkun Olam and Tikkun Nefesh to the world. I'll repeat that a little slower. Every instruction in the Torah, every discipline or protocol pictured in the Torah, the Holy One gave to Bnei Israel or to some member of Bnei Israel over the course of the Torah contains in itself a essential Kedusha infusion connection that we need to bring to earth to navigate through the dark energy interactions and to bring Tikkun Olam and Nefesh to the world. Let me restate it a little different way as we conclude today. The mitzvot and the commandments, as they're called in English, the mitzvot, the mishpatim, and the hukim, the judgments and the ordinances of the Torah, are secret weapons, cheat codes, as it were, for human beings learning to overcome temptation, succeed in tests, overcome flesh-triggering situations with their beautiful feet of messengers of the King intact, and effectively model to and for the nations his goodness, his shalom, and his more excellent way. Every mitzvah is a way to heal the world, to fix the world. Every commandment is not something to do to please God or something to do to earn heaven. Every commandment is strategically given to interject healing into the world, into the Creator's ecosystem, the created ecosystem. Also, beloved, we'll have much to talk about in your individual gatherings and in your individual studies this week at Shabbat. But I hope you understand this. Torah is your secret weapon. The instructions of Torah are your cheat code as to how to succeed in dealings with the unclean and the whole realms of this earth and the dark energy that they possess. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'll see you next week.